long in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
I am done with mattress. That's right. I'm not spending another night on this old bag. My new mattress comes today, and this thing is out of here. Bye-bye, mattress.
Yep. Bye-bye, mattress. So says you and about 1,000 other people every day. And that's a lot of old mattresses with no place to go. There's the landfill, of course, where they just take up space. But what a waste. Because you could send it to a mattress recycler, where old mattresses get broken down into steel, foam, wood, and fiber that become new steel, carpet padding, home insulation, garden mulch, biomass fuel, automotive oil filters, and all kinds of other great stuff. So bye-bye mattress is right. But don't toss it. Recycle it. It's easy. And it's free. To find a mattress recycler in your area, visit buybuymattress.com.
Hey, this is Dana and Courtney. You might remember us from our Girls' Night Out Love Shack parties.
And now we are live on the radio. Our show is called
Between the Sheets. Someone was crazy enough to give us our own show.
Rude to be prude, so be careful when you tune in. Everything goes on between the sheets.
You never know what we're going to talk about.
So make sure you visit us on thepowerofvoices.com.
Between the Sheets with Dana and Courtney.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Dad? Son, come home with me.
Visit the secret panda village?
Sleep like a panda. Eat like a panda.
I knew I wasn't eating up to my potential.
It's not always easy being a dad, but it's always worth it.
Let me teach you how to belly gong.
Awesome! Take time to be a dad today.
Thanks, Dad.
Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov to learn more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hey, join Lee Carroll and the cast of characters that make up just about anybody, anywhere from Chris Bass, Alfo, Alpo, Apollo, even little Frankie. Join us 10 a.m. Pacific Time, Monday through Friday, right here on thepowerofvoices.com. Oh, and I forgot you.
Something for everyone is found right here on thepowerofvoices.com.
Now it's time for Straight on the Point with Jesse T. from some undisclosed location somewhere in the world. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Jesse T.
Well, it's good to have you with us here on thepowerofvoices.com. Could you turn that down a little bit? I turned it up too loud for myself. My goodness, I'm barreling in to my ears. I'm going to sound like an old radio guy. Hey, how you doing, baby? Yeah. Right? No, hey, good to have you with us. It's the Jesse T Show. We're back on the air and everywhere with you from the community to the world. We've got a great show lined up for you. Tracy had a great show just before us, and he had Pete and Tico on running for the SAG president's office. And for you actors that are out there, you want to check out Pete Antico. He's got a lot of great things. He's destined to clean up SAG, and we know SAG needs to be cleaned up because it's like an old hag right now. SAG is acting like a hag. So we got to do something about that, and Pete's the guy to check it out. We had him earlier in the year on our show here, the Jesse T Show, on every day of the week from Monday through Friday. From 5 to 6, good to have you along with us right here on thepowervoices.com. Also, AVTV Live and the Digital Broadcasting TV Network. And that's Instagram, Periscope, live stream, 3 or 4 Facebook sites, Ustream, and it goes on and on and on and on. And so pass the word out, share it out, because we always have great guests. Today, we've got a terrific guest. I'm going to hold up for just a second just to talk a little bit about a couple other things that are happening here in the Power of Voices. Always download the free app that we have for you. It'll go right onto your Android or right onto your iPhone, and download that free app, because then you'll be able to really key in to all the great shows that are broadcasting 24/7 here at the Power of Voices. Like we brought you The Fight for Life, which was a great show on last Father's Day when we were out there calling the fights. So you never know what's happening here. You have to keep in touch. We've got a lot of exciting stuff that happens, from sports to controversy to fun, music, comedy, drama, actors, VIPs, important people. So we want you to always check that out by downloading that free app. Already bringing on people from Instagram live, saying hi to I'd always blow these names. Men's school there. Men's school there. Men's school there. Men. You know something? Why can't you just use regular names? What's wrong with you people? Why do I think it's a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy to make me screw up people's names. That's what it is. I figured it out. Yes, it's a giant. Anonymous told me yesterday that it's a conspiracy. That's what Anonymous did. So anyway, we've got a great show lined up for you today, and I'm going to bring on somebody who's very important to our community, a community activist for many, many decades here in the Los Angeles City area, specifically the San Fernando Valley, covering all the hillside areas. She's been an activist that's been on the scene fighting for the rights and the causes to save our mountains, to correct things that the city council members do and the mayors over the years, and as well as she's part of CPAB organization. That's the Community Police Advisory Board here for the Los Angeles Police Department, a couple of organizations like that. She's very, very involved in the Sutherland Tujunga area, Northridge, Chatsworth, Sylmar, San Fernando Valley, Pacoima, Arleta, all these areas. And there's a lot to talk about up there because they need a lot of work and a lot of things need to be done. So she also is the publisher of her own paper for many decades, and she's got a growing and wonderful subscribership that goes from one end of the valley to the other. It's a terrific newspaper, and of course you can advertise in it too, because that always helps in terms of publications. And so it's called the North Valley Reporter. But now, of course, we're in the modern age, and it's on the website, and it's even updated even faster on the website. Current events, things that happen. She's got a lot of writers out there. I happen to write a commentary editorial for her paper from time to time, and that North Valley Reporter is the northvalleyreporter.org or .net or .com?
It's actually .com, but I have all of the other.
Okay, so she got them all, so I covered them all there. But I do want to appreciate her very much for the fine work that she's done and keeping you, the folks involved, and understanding what our city officials do well and don't do so well, and some of the hot button ticket items in the Northeast San Fernando Valley. Bringing on Nina Royale. Nina, good to have you with us. Oh, my goodness. She's just terrific. I'm so pleased to have you with us, Nina, because you are the person, the go-to person for so many people to find out kind of what's happening in a big slice of the LA City community. And it's bigger than what most people envision, the San Fernando Valley. For those of you across the nation who don't really know where the San Fernando Valley is, it's just north of downtown Los Angeles and Hollywood. It is the largest suburb that was developed about 70 years ago until now. There are millions of people that live in the San Fernando Valley, and means there's millions of issues, and especially now more than ever before. I've been involved in the community as an activist for a very long time, but Nina really has been on the front lines of every major issue that takes place, and there are so many to talk about here. So we're just going to jump in and start talking about a couple of things. One thing that seems to be on everybody's mind is this high-speed rail. I mean, this high-speed rail, folks, if you haven't heard about it, explain a little bit what this high-speed rail is supposed to do, but what it's really going to do.
Well, truthfully, the high-speed rail is not high-speed.
Well, wait a minute. It says it's high-speed in all the documentation.
I don't care what it says.
Wait, the voters think it's high-speed?
They were misled.
What do you mean? It's not going to go like the Japanese or the Chinese or the English-French high-speed rail? No?
The way it's being set up is they're going to be stopping in communities. And when they stop in communities, it's not going to be straight from Sacramento or San Francisco straight to L.A. They're going to make stops in Modesto and
so this so-called 200 miles an hour is never going to happen.
Especially through the Tehachapis.
Oh, how can you go 200 miles an hour through the Tehachapis, right?
The thing is, even if they could, the cost is so outrageous.
Right.
And the timing that it's going to take them to complete this, it'll be obsolete before it's finished.
Yeah, I heard that the ticket prices, I mean, if you take the regular rail system that we use right now here in Los Angeles, going out to Palmdale, Lancaster, and out to the San Gabriel Valley, the MTA, or the train, okay? It's $12 a ticket. $12 a ticket.
Right.
One way. And if you're a senior citizen, you get it maybe $1 off, $11 a ticket. One way. What is the cost of a ticket for that going to be? Can you imagine?
You know, the thing that I have the problem with is they are leaning, particularly in the city of LA, they want to make communities self-sustaining. They want you to work there, go to school there, and ride a bicycle, right?
Mm-hmm.
To take the traffic off the roads. This is what they say they want to do. So what are they doing with a high-speed rail? Is somebody in San Francisco really going to take that thing every day to come to work in LA? So it's kind of a, what's the word I'm looking for? An oxymoron.
It is an oxymoron. I mean, I understand that they don't even have 3/4 of the land purchased yet.
No.
And it's surpassing the original budget that the voters voted on.
And what they did in order to take some of the heat off, they're doing the Modesto to Fresno part first, and they're going through farmland and all kinds of things. And they've already done an eminent domain, and they've started on it. But who wants to go to Fresno and Modesto? You know, and
I don't know if I want to go to Fresno and Modesto.
So what they're working on now, and what former Supervisor Antonovich suggested, is that they stop in Palmdale and take the Metrolink to downtown LA to make because right now what they want to do, listen to this, they want to come through the Angeles Forest. They want a tunnel.
Wait a minute. They're going to... Wait a second. Now, let me wrap my mind around this, folks, because the Angeles National Forest, it's just not a couple little spit mountains. No. I mean, we're talking mountains that go to 9,000 feet, and you know, there's a lot of square footage there.
Look it up, the mileage between Palmdale, going through the Angeles Forest.
They want a tunnel?
Yeah.
It'll be the biggest tunnel in the world.
I wouldn't go in it.
I would be frightened to death that a 9-point earthquake would happen.
To cross the ecologically sensitive Tahunga Wash.
You're talking the Handsome Dam area, that the whole wash area up above.
Yeah, but they want to go through it, come down through Shadow Hills, and through Sun Valley into Burbank.
Wait, now is there going to be a tunnel that goes all the way from Palmdale to Burbank?
No, what they'll do is they'll come out at the end of the hillside and be on stilts going across the wash.
One hell of a roller coaster ride, sounds like to me.
When it hits, what is it, Wentworth?
Yeah, okay.
They'll tunnel through Shadow Hills. and then come out on the other side around the La Tuna Canyon area
Oh,
and down
Lord.
to Sun Valley.
All right, let me give some perspective to folks that don't know these icon names that you and I know so well, living in the community for so long. We're talking about an 80-mile stretch that goes from Palmdale, California, to Burbank. Roughly 80 miles. Now, when you start doing it as a crow flies, digging underground in a linear straight tunnel, you might cut a few miles off of that. But we're talking about going under massive mountains.
Eminent domain.
Eminent domain. We're talking about the disruption of a possible ecological area that is so sensitive. I mean, it is very sensitive, this ecological area we're talking about. And we're also talking about disrupting people's lives in a community on the other side. And I understand that this tunnel that they're talking about with this high-speed rail that's not so high speed, because there's no way you're going to go 200 miles an hour between 20-mile jaunts. It's just not going to happen. All right, so they're going to go 50 miles an hour, just like the regular train does, and the ticket's going to be like $40 a ticket just to break even. That's what they say. So here's the key. It's going to come up in this kind of housing area, and that tunnel under the housing area is only about 80 feet deep. So are you telling me that an 80-foot tunnel with a train going underneath your house is not going to be hurt?
This is earthquake country.
Oh, and to top it off, folks, California is earthquake country.
And they're going right through the forest.
And this is the dim-witness of what I call Mayor Garcetti, Confetti Garcetti, with nothing in his head but candy, popcorn, and paper. I'm putting some popcorn in there because I like popcorn. They just finished building this big, huge building at 9000 Wilshire Boulevard. It sits right on the San Andreas Fault.
This is also the legacy that Governor Brown wants to leave because he's backing it 100%.
Now, you can't say this, but I can. El Stupido, I call him Governor El Stupido Brown. I mean, that's his legacy that he wants to leave, this high-speed rail. So, do you think that this thing is ever going to get made?
Some people say yes, some people say no. However, they don't really have the funds for it. But they want. Do you remember the proposition we just passed for transportation?
Right.
That's supposed to go for infrastructure on the street.
Potholes and curbs.
They want to take that money and put it towards the.
So that extra 25 cents that El Stupido's tacked on, they want
we'll
to
go to the high-speed rail most likely.
So we're still going to drive over potholes and go up crappy old curbs.
Most likely.
The sidewalks
in my opinion, most likely. But the thing is, that's really devastating is they won't listen to the community.
Well, why is that? What's happened to our political
money
enterprise?
Walks and
BS talks.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. And
well, there are the four big unions that if you want to get elected in this city, you've got four unions: DWP, you have the LAPD, fire, and you have the Teamsters, and that's about it.
And the meetings that I have been to, I've been to the county, and this is with the Save the Angeles Forest for Everyone, called SAFE, and its leadership is David DePinto.
Right. Well, he's been a good fighter. He's been a good fighter.
Excellent. He's excellent. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be where we're at because so far there's like 3 routes they want to put through the Angeles Forest, and so far we've been able to stave them off.
The route that comes down the canyon, how about that one that they wanted to do?
That's what we're talking about. Now there's talk about them coming back through the 14 and down through the 5, which would totally annihilate the city of San Fernando because they would be building huge walls on both sides and cut the city off and going through the new buildings.
Not even to talk about the disruption of business. Small businessmen and women are going to get put out of business.
For something that's going to be obsolete. And you can get to San Francisco in what? How many minutes?
Southwestern, I can pop on there at $75, land in San Francisco International in 45 minutes.
Okay.
So what? It makes no sense.
What's the need for it?
Well, here's the need for it. And this is my opinion. I think the need for it is Nancy Pelosi and her husband wanted that $1 billion contract that all the people vied for, but he actually got it. Yes, Nancy Pelosi. No, not Pelosi. I'm sorry. Excuse me, yes. Nancy Pigolosi. I'm sorry. That's what I call you. But Diane Frankenstein. Diane Frankenstein and her husband, Mr. Frankenstein. Come on. She's a Senaho. You know what a Senaho is? A senator we send to Washington and turns into a hoe. A Senaho, right? Doing it for the money. Sorry, I'm saying what I got to say because that's me, Jesse T. What can I tell you? Now, check it out. All these people vie from international companies that have built these high-speed rails, that have major international experience in all the problems under the Chinese water they built it, right? All of this stuff, and he's never built. He's a contractor, developer guy. He's done some good things, but he's never built one of these, and he gets this $1 billion contract.
You know, what a lot of people don't realize is France has high speed.
Mm-hmm.
Japan has high speed. When those were built, they were built after World War II. Their lands were devastated.
Yep.
They didn't have to do eminent domain. They had to rebuild the lands. So, and those are the only 2 high-speed rails that I think are sustainable. Anything else is subsidized.
Yeah.
It's subsidized. So there's no way that we are not going to be paying. We will keep paying and paying and paying. You know, Penn Central went belly up.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Penn Central went belly up.
Yep.
But you know what they did in return?
What?
They bought Thorn EMI, which is Capitol Records.
Mm-hmm.
Also into manufacturing. They own quite a few aerospace companies.
Right.
Especially right here in California.
Right.
How is it possible that you can belly up a railway and then turn around and buy all of these other things and get all the tax breaks that they're getting from the government? They're still doing it.
Strange things happen behind the Beltway in D.C. Strange things happen.
So I want to tell you about my paper. The reason why for the paper is just for things like this. I wanted to inform people of what's going on and give them a voice. Because if you're stupid, or stupido, or however you want to say it, you're uninformed, and politicians can do as they darn well please.
Well, because they all lie. The definition of a politician is hypocrisy, lying, and corruptness. So that's the definition of a politician. So you have to have something that informs the folks. And I'll tell you, the North Valley Reporter has been doing that for a number of decades. The stories that she runs are just right on the button. And you just don't cover one side, not politically left or politically right. You cover the story down the middle with information and facts.
I do not. I don't do editorials myself.
Right.
I tell you the information, and then you decide what you want to do with it.
Right.
Or how you want to feel about it. I don't do that. I only expose what's going on.
Right.
And I try not to put my personal opinion in it. Once in a while, it's a little hard.
Yeah, well, that's what you have people like me writing commentary and editorials, because I put my personal opinion on everything, let me tell you. But the point is, the North Valley Reporter is a conduit for folks that they can read and participate, different than the LA Times or the Daily News, which are just, so slanted in different directions, especially the LA Times. But your paper, and that's why it's growing in subscribership and viewership online, is that it gives an alternate point of view, which makes people think. Is that something that, is that a model of what you want to target?
Well, I just want to get the information out there.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we don't, well, for instance, one of the issues we did, there were pedophiles at a motel.
Oh yes, I know it well because the Coalition Against Human Trafficking. We're on top of that.
And they never told anybody that they were housing pedophiles in there. And while they were housing the pedophiles, they were still open for business. Jeez. People would come because it's Christmas, bring in their families. And the community did not know, and I broke that story.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, they lost.
So give a little background about what was going on there before that story broke. Give a little background how you got aware of that and what brought you to be able to break that story.
Well, as you know, I'm also involved with the neighborhood councils.
Right.
And I knew at that time, Tammy Flores, who was the president of the Summer Neighborhood Council, called me.
Yes.
And said, "Did you know this? Wonder what we can do about it." I said, "I tell you what we do. We can notify everybody, put it in the paper."
Mm-hmm.
So as a result, they picketed in front of the motel, and not only did they picket, but we got people down from Sacramento.
Right.
And had a big town hall meeting. They tried to explain themselves, and they pulled out. Although there's two sides to that story. The other side is, okay, the hotel was in an area where you weren't at that time surrounded by residents. You were close to the freeway, and you weren't close to a school or anything. And according to the police, they knew where they were at.
I would vehemently argue against that. A pedophile is a pedophile.
That's the other way of looking at it, is that they otherwise what they're doing is they're releasing these people and they're going into neighborhoods.
Yeah. No, these people are out walking the streets, and they're looking for little girls and little boys under the age of 16 all the time. We deal with that, the Coalition Against Human Trafficking, all the time.
Well, what really has perpetuated it, too, is the social media.
Right.
Now they have officers that do nothing but sit and read this stuff.
Right.
And they catch them. Catch them. Before, it wasn't quite so readily available. You had to advertise in the paper.
Right.
We're talking years.
That's you. I just showed Nina herself. It's a little bit of delay. That's what happens.
Excuse me, what I look like, folks. I just traveled on the 405 freeway from hell.
This woman is frazzled, and dazed and confused. Anytime you go up the 405 freeway, it is HELL. That's for sure.
And I was getting so angry because,
I'm not laughing. I'm sympathizing laughing.
There was only 2 people in that carpool lane, 1 in every 6 cars.
Yes.
The rest of them were all single.
So they're zooming by. Some of them even have the blow-up dolls.
Yeah, you know what, though? If that's going to happen and they're not going to be penalized, take the carpool lanes off.
Yeah, and give an extra lane, right, that people could use.
That's not right because it's not being monitored. These people
well, you see, that,
big as day.
That's exactly what we're talking about. Monitoring the things that people have created in government to move society along or to help society or not. But having a journalistic newspaper that is a watchdog, and that's the big complaint today, is that journalism and reporting is not a watchdog anymore.
Oh, God, and I have to tell you another pet peeve of communities that is happening. They want to take people out of their cars and put them on bicycles, right? So now what they're doing with this Vision 2030 and Vision 2040,
right.
Safe Streets, and what is it? Vision Zero.
Yeah. Oh, tell me about Vision Zero.
Let me tell you what's happening. Like Van Nuys Boulevard, they took one side of Van Nuys, and I believe it's going towards the mountains, 1 lane going. They took the other lane and made it a bicycle lane. So if you're going to the I-5 freeway from the Foothill Freeway area, you've got 2 lanes. But if you're coming home from work and you're going up,
they got 1.
You've got 1 lane, and it is bumper to bumper. And you know what? The people hate it.
Nobody rides their bicycles in those lanes.
Well,
I never see anybody in those bike lanes.
Not only that, but there is nothing to keep cars that want to turn right. You know what they do? Instead of getting in the little dotted line and waiting, absolutely. So anyone that thinks that they're safe in a bicycle lane, I got a bullet.
Well, I got a pet peeve about people on bicycles riding on the street. What, are you insane? Are you people insane? I mean, it's like Death Race 3000 here, I mean, really? I should be scoring points for the amount of people that go down in the street riding their bicycle in the street thinking that they are protected with their helmet, and there's this invisible Star Trek wall or Star Wars wall that's there, and then they get pissed off at you and get mad at you, and they yell at you, and you're driving a 3,000-pound automobile. You might be an insane person, and they got, a 10-speed bicycle. I mean, they're just creating chaos.
And watch some of these bicyclists. They don't stop for the red lights.
Yes.
They don't stop before they make turns.
Yes.
They figure that, okay, they have the same rights as a driver.
Yeah, right.
But they don't observe the same laws.
No, they don't.
So this is really, really
And that's
a
just
problem.
not in the San Fernando Valley. That's all over the city of Los Angeles.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what?
And you know what I think? I think they should put some of those bicycle lanes in that are in the more Latino parts of Los Angeles. They should, instead of the writing with the arrows that are in English, they should write those arrows in Spanish.
Not only that, but I'm going to be 75 tomorrow.
Happy birthday to you.
I'm not telling you that for
Happy
that reason.
birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Nina. I'm singing again, Lee. Happy birthday to you. Come on, man. Boom.
The reason why I'm telling you this.
Yes, tell me.
I am not riding a bicycle in the middle. I won't live to see 76.
You're right.
And not only that, but I'm not as healthy and as strong as I was when I was 25.
You can't move. Nobody can move fast enough.
Senior citizens are moving way
So
up there.
who created this Vision 1 concept?
Vision Zero, you mean?
Yeah, Vision Zero.
Okay.
I love it. I love it. Vision Zero, right? Is that an apropos name for something?
Well, let me tell you, this came from Europe.
Lord. Oh, Lord.
But there is a
I
difference.
think they're trying to make us a socialist nation.
There
I really
is
believe that.
a difference in the topography of these countries that have this.
Yeah.
Sunland Tujunga, you can't ride a bicycle up the hill in Sunland Tujunga unless you're 15 years old.
Right.
You can't get up that hill. I
Right.
know because I have two bikes.
That's
One's in
4,000
Glendale.
feet at the top.
One's in Glendale and one is in Santa Clarita. My son lives.
Right.
Glendale, where my brother lives. And I ride the alleyways. In Santa Clarita, I
Yeah.
ride the paseos. I
Right.
don't ride on the street.
No.
Because I do well to get out of my own way.
Right.
So how can they really believe that families with
Are
young
all going
children
to ride bicycles holding hands.
Exactly.
Yes.
Or seniors are going to get on a bike
Yeah.
and ride down here from the San Fernando Valley. Not going to happen.
Right.
Not going to happen. So you're not going to have that multitude of people riding bicycles to be doing what they're doing. It is a recreation sport, in my opinion. A recreation sport only, and when it isn't, it's because people live within a mile or 2 miles from where they work, and they can maybe ride those
You know what? You know what happens to me when I drive my car by a bunch of guys with bicycles? I just want to run into them.
No.
I do. I just want to run into them. Now, I'm not going to run into them. Of course not. But I want to run into them.
That'll come back and bite you in the butt.
It will.
Saying that.
But it's okay. I don't care. I'm not running for politics ever again. I'm just going to run into them. That's it.
Somebody actually did that.
I know.
I think it's Manville Canyon. Was it Manville Canyon?
Yes.
Where they actually ran into a bicycle, but he got prosecuted.
Yeah, I know he did. Darn it.
But, there does have to be bike trails.
No, I agree.
There should be
but
bike trails.
not
for the
down
mountain bikers and that
not
kind of
down
thing.
a street where they're going 65 miles an hour. I mean,
And
come
not
on.
on equestrian trails.
Come on. Oh, yeah. Oh, horses. Oh, well, that's a whole
No,
nother
not
story.
on
Now, one of the
equestrian
topics during this last election, folks, City Council had a member leave, and the CD7 was available for...
You're speaking about Felipe Fuentes.
Oh, yes, the double effer. That's what I called him. The double effer. Yeah. Now, you can figure out what the double effer means, right? Remember Rowan and Martin's? Remember Rowan and Martin's laughing?
Yeah.
Remember? And they had the flying fickle finger of fate, right? Well, he got the double. His parents named him the double flying fickle finger of fate, the double effer. This guy did nothing except nothing.
Oh, he
No,
did
he did
something.
nothing.
He threw Sunland Tujunga out of their office.
Oh, yeah. He did that really well. Yeah.
And also, he's responsible for AB 212.
Oh, thank you.
Where he tried to take the Verdugo Hills Golf Course and have no EIR.
Yeah.
Make it a by right, and it wasn't even his district.
And it's a historical. It's a historical place because it was a Japanese internment camp.
But this is why he was in the assembly, and yet people still voted for him.
I know.
For city council.
The only reason why he got thrown out is because the police and the investigations were coming down on him like an anvil in a cartoon, walking under a 3-story building and a piano hits him. That's the only reason why he left, and everybody knows that. And I'm just speaking it. But here's the point: that seat became vacant. Now I was running for it, and then I decided not to because I just didn't want the stress, and I don't think I could get anything done for the constituencies except just argue with the people in City Hall, and that wasn't something I decided I didn't want to do. But the point is, we did get a new elected official, and she now is the council member for CD7. And CD7, folks, is Sylmar, Salentahanga, little piece of Pacoima, Lakeview Terrace.
All of Pacoima except for a little piece.
Yeah, little piece, except for a little piece. It stretches down into Mission Hills a little bit still.
And North Hills.
And North Hills.
And Lieutenant Canyon, Shadow Hills, Lakeview Terrace.
So it's a big district. It's it's the biggest district.
With the most open space.
With the most open space. Now, some of the issues that Ms. Rodriguez, Monica Rodriguez, who won the seat, has to tackle are jobs, failing streets and infrastructure, increased crime, and trash and graffiti, keeping open spaces, adding new firehouses for protection of 90,000 people with one firehouse in Sylmar, keeping getting money for rehab of dilapidated areas in her district.
And she has a huge homeless problem.
Major homeless problem, the biggest.
Probably the biggest in the city of Los Angeles.
Yeah, how many? We do the count the homeless every year. I mean, what do they find up there in your district, in your area?
I don't know the percentage,
but
it's probably the biggest percentage in the city of LA.
Because they've got water there coming down the stream.
Water, they've got the open space and the ability to hide.
Right.
In the canyons.
We stopped or broke up a homeless encampment that was right there on Foothill Boulevard, just up from where Rodney King was beat up.
It's Lakeview Terrace.
Yeah, Lakeview Terrace. And right across from the pool, the new pool there and stuff, there was a homeless encampment. It had burned twice. I went in there, and it had burned twice. No, I didn't start the fires. I didn't start the fires, okay? Come on now. Come on. You know? God. All right. Just wanted to clarify that. All right. So, but it burned twice, and that's finally when something was done, because it's Caltrans land, and it's not city land.
What happened last year, it's a little maybe over a year ago, we had a group of residents from the Wash area. What do they call that? It's a ranch. I forget the name of it. But anyway, the trash was so bad in the Wash. There was actually an old mobile home that was so contaminated and dilapidated that people were living in it.
Oh, boy.
And the city actually wanted to go after the guy that moved it, because the only way he could get rid of it was to move it on city property.
Right.
Because he could get no help. But the whole community of, like, Lakeview Terrace, Salentahanga, Shadow, they all came together and cleaned up that Wash. It took them about 2 months. You would not believe the filth and the hypodermic needles and everything else. Now, before that happened, several years ago, there is a place we call Jurassic Park.
Mm-hmm.
And that was right next to the freeway.
Mm-hmm.
This is when Wendy Groh was in office.
Yes. Oh, Wendy.
They decided to have a homeless connect day.
Mm-hmm.
They put out flyers 2 weeks in advance. There was about 300 people living in that encampment. They had stoves, the barbecue, all kinds of stuff. They had like living rooms, you name it. And you know how that burns. That's right alongside the freeway.
Burns all the time.
So they put that out there, and they said, okay, on this particular day, we're going to send a bus. We're going to pick you up. We're going to take you to North Valley City Hall. You're going to have dentists, doctors, eyeglasses. They're going to check you out, get you medicine. There's going to be people there to help you find homes, to help you find jobs.
Get off the streets.
Everything.
Right.
They sent that bus. 10 people got on it. The rest of the people and their paraphernalia was gone. Because you know why?
Yep.
They don't want the services.
You're absolutely right, Nina, in that respect. I've talked about this many times on the Jesse T Show here, where where when we start talking about the 50,000 homeless people in the city of Los Angeles alone, not including the county, when we start looking at the numbers, and statistics prove over and over and over and over that about 80% of the people that are on the street actually want to be there.
Yeah.
And
Then they had another town hall meeting regarding the homeless and what to do with it. They came, and it got so violent that they had to call the police because they said, we want showers in the wash. We want barbecues in the wash. And who do you think you are to tell us how we should live? We want these things. We want to do what we want to do, blah, blah, blah. But I will tell you that there are people that do want help, and those people can get it.
About 10% of them want help.
They can get it. If they go to any of the organizations.
And there's a lot of organizations.
But 2 years ago, they had a Homeless Connect Day in Sunland, Tujunga at North Valley City Hall. And I took down all of the cards, all of the representatives of the 501c3s that were there to help the homeless. Listen to this. This will just really grab you. So I took it all down. About a month later, my son, who I told you is a cop, right? He has a friend. He had a friend that wound up having some mental problems.
Right.
And he and his wife, and he wound up on the street.
Right.
So my brother and I sat down, and we started calling all of the information that I collected. Guess what? Half the phone numbers were no good. They were no longer at the areas where they said they were at. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. Because this, I understand, was controlled by the LAPD, who checks out these people that supposedly have these 501c3s. Because that's an offense.
Right.
That's an
offense.
offense.
It's a federal offense.
That's an offense. And we could not get him any help. He wound up sleeping at Griffith Park down there by Glendale and Riverside Drive, right in that area. And then he got really ill. He went to St. Joseph's Hospital. He was in there for like a week. They released him. He had no place. And you know what they said to them?
What?
Too bad. Put him out on the sidewalk.
Right.
So he says, you know what? Until you help me, I'm going to just sit right here. They got him into Burbank Rehab Center, but he was only allowed to stay there for a week. So he and his friends, they scrounged up money to get him to stay at a place, the Glendale Hotel. I don't think it's called the Glendale Hotel anymore, but that's where it used to be there on Central. So there are bigger issues here. It's not that the people are homeless. And then if they come here, we can't house all of the United States. We cannot house all the homeless in the United States. There's got to be some way to fix this, but not in a way that it disrupts the communities.
Right.
Because there's no ending to it. I don't know how to resolve it. But I think one thing is that until the economy changes, especially here in California, you're going to see more of it. And you're going to see families because people are going to lose their homes. With the utility rates and everything else.
Well, these are the kind of topics that you tackle every day with your paper, every day with your online aspect of the paper too. I mean, these are this kind of information that you put out to the public to get the public aware and allow them to think of possibilities that they can then go to their local politicians and start protesting and pushing the agenda that may or may not work. But yeah, the homeless issue is a big issue that the new council member is going to have to tackle there in the 7th district of the city of Los Angeles. Well, you know, it is a job, especially in the 7th district, because for decades now, nothing has been done in the 7th district. Not just of the double effort for Felipe Fuentes, but the person before him and the person before him. Just nothing has been done, really, so to speak. So this is one of the issues that
a lot of those people have been dumped up there too.
Yeah.
When Villaraigosa was mayor, he wanted to
Tony V.
Yeah, he wanted to clean up downtown.
Yeah, I know.
So how's it better to get rid of these people is to put them somewhere else.
Right.
And I'm not saying that downtown shouldn't have been cleaned up, but it shouldn't be somebody else's problem. You know, fix the problem that's there. Don't transfer it.
Well, in one sense, though, isn't Los Angeles and Southern California the place where everybody from the rest of the country comes to be homeless because we don't have freezing temperatures. We generally don't have the crazy rain that we had this last season. It's a mild temperate climate. They have nothing but left-wing liberal services throughout the state and the county and the cities. This is a sanctuary city. It just makes them so easy. I mean, they're allowed to go poop and pee on the sidewalk and because there's not enough bathrooms, so they changed the code on that. You can't chase them away from your business if they're sleeping there in the morning. You can't shush them away because you can get in trouble there. So we make it very easy here in the city of Los Angeles. And I say we because it's you, the people, who are voting for these people that are put in office that represent you. We make it really easy for someone who's living in Cleveland or Florida where the humidity and or North Dakota or New York,
snow,
yeah, whatever, Chicago, whatever, to come here and they can live a pretty good life on the street here for the most part compared to where they're at.
No, but our welfare is probably the highest.
Well, that's what I said. Exactly. That's the left-wing liberal lunatic nutcases that have put these laws on the books over the last 50 years that allow for these types of monies to be filtered to them rather than to the small businessman and the small businesswoman, rather than to education, rather than to increasing the police force. I mean, to govern L.A., we have 10,000 police just barely, and half of them are usually in the office. They only got 5,000 troopers on the street. New York itself, what, Lee? New York has itself like 40,000 police officers. It's unbelievable how many police officers there are in urban cities, but we don't have that.
Per capita, we're very, very low.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke. And the police can't do anything when they get on scene. It's a joke.
I think that one of the worst things that ever happened to the police department was when they made him appointed by the mayor.
That was the worst thing, because now you're going and becoming to the mayor. You become the mayor's puppet string rather than the police commissioner like every other city has.
McDonald, who I think is doing an excellent job, he's beholden to the people.
Well, they voted him in.
Yeah, exactly. And he's beholden, and he's up for re-election, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't see any problem with that. I think he'll have smooth sailing because he has done a terrific job.
Well, once again, like the L.A. County Sheriff's Department had been run in certain ways for several decades that caused a lot of the problems that Sheriff Baca is now paying for. And McDonald has cleaned up a lot of the mess and still is.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. So, I mean, there are issues where that money that we're getting taxed here in the city and the county of Los Angeles could go to, but they opt to send it to illegal immigrants. They opt to send it to, and yet then they cut school costs for arts and history and civics and after school sports. They cut all that, but then they give the welfare and EBT even more money than ever before. So there's something that has to be done, and that's what I like about your paper, because the opposing views can be constructed and pronounced in your paper for people to see and make their own decisions in that respect. What are some of the hot button issues that you're tackling right now?
One of them is going to be the Charos, because it is an issue right now. Even in my own community, they put them in without having any kind of public input. And one day, we're driving down Foothill Boulevard, and traffic's backed all the way up to Oro Vista on the right-hand side because they took a lane out. And then they call them ballast.
Right.
All around, which took away the parking.
Yes.
Around the park.
Right.
So if you're familiar with Sunland Park, you know what we're talking about. And it's called Safe Streets. Give me a break.
Well, that's an initiative that works through all the city of Los Angeles. And they're just creating traffic congestion.
And it's dangerous. It's dangerous. I saw where coming out of Sherman Grove, where people are used to turning right there, they couldn't turn right there because there were ballasts in a bicycle, and they almost ran into me.
Right.
I had a few choice words, but really not at the driver because they were shocked.
Right.
You know, they didn't expect that to happen, and neither did I. But it's a single lane. It turned into a single lane unexpectedly. So you're going to see a lot of that.
You know, one of the things.
The other is the homeless is a big issue.
Yeah.
In our area.
Yeah.
The high-speed train,
right.
the rail, is another huge issue.
What about saving the mountains?
That's part of it.
Right.
That's part of it. We've been, we had that big fire in
Sand Canyon fire. I covered that pretty extensively when that happened.
That's Sand Canyon on the other side, but we had the station fire.
Yeah, it came over the top.
That just about annihilate the whole back end of Sunland Tujunga.
Right.
And that's another thing.
Yes.
During that fire, when it came out, I called the mayor's office because I'm the safety chair for Sunland Tujunga. And it hadn't reached our area yet, but it was traveling. You could see it traveling. And when they answered the phone, the lady said, "That's a county issue. And you're in the county." I said, "What? Why do you have a job?"
Right.
Sunland Tujunga's in the city of Los Angeles. And I said, "Are you going to wait for it to cross the county line? Is that what you're going to do?" So for 2 days, our police department, I don't know where the senior leads were, but they didn't tell the powers that be where Foothill Division is over in Pacoima. That's, what, 20 minutes away?
Yes, it is.
So they didn't know what
on
was
a good
going on.
day.
So they didn't know what was going on. And I tried to reach, and they said to me that Villaraigosa was mayor at the time, and this was on a weekend. They said, "Well, we can't authorize any overtime." What?
Right.
Because we needed help.
Well, Tony V wants to run for the governorship.
No way.
Tony V, and there's a guy from Irvine, a venture capitalist that got his money out of the IT business. I can't remember his name, Tom, I think. Those are the only two ones that are, a couple of weeks ago when I was watching, are only two ones that have put their names up. But Tony Villaraigosa wants to be our next governor.
Well, I wound up getting help from, at that time, we were in between council member again.
Yeah.
Wendy Gruhl had gone to controller.
Right.
And left us vacant.
Right.
And believe it or not, Krikorian is the one that came in. And Alarcon. I don't know if you remember Manny Figueres.
I know Manny well. I know all those characters you just said. Yeah.
We got help from them.
Yeah.
He got us the Red Cross.
Manny's a good guy. Manny Figueres was a field representative here for the council district and different council members that would become the leaders of their districts. And he's a lifelong field rep, and he could get things done. And that brings you to the question of this coordination between the county and the city and all the services that should be working together at one department and the other department. Do you see that is ever going to get cleared up in a way in which that the community can have some sort of cooperation when they live right on the edge of something? Or how do we fix that?
Communication. There isn't enough of it. I went down to City Hall right after the station, and I yelled at them.
Right.
This should never happen to anybody. I couldn't get a hold of anybody. I couldn't get any animal services.
Right.
And where do they set up we went to Glendale,
right.
and Glendale says, you're not our problem. We've got our own. So we had no place for our people to go.
Right.
And I said, we could not get any help from anybody, and because we're the farthest removed,
Right.
We're out in the middle here. And Ed Reyes, who was the council member at the time, says, "Well, Miss Royal, we'll make sure that never happens again, blah, 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 blah,
right.
blah." But the one that actually picked up the flag to do something was Congressman Adam Schiff.
Yeah.
And
he's from Granada Hills, of all places.
Schiff, he's from, I don't know where he is.
He was
Glendale.
Yeah, he was Glendale, but now he's out in Granada Hills.
His territory is in Granada
Hills. No, it's West Hills.
No, he's Burbank boy.
Is he Burbank?
He's
Did he win
boy.
that? Okay.
Yeah, his territory now, since redistricting,
right,
goes up to Cagle Canyon.
Okay.
And back into the Angeles Forest.
So as we move into this this new age of publications of newspapers, are you seeing that your online subscribership and following and viewing is growing faster than ever?
It's picking up. But people have to remember, there's people my age
Mm-hmm.
that want nothing to do with computers.
Right.
So once a month, I'm trying to actually publish a paper to put it out there
Right.
for the people that don't. Because not everybody, even myself, I'm lucky I know how to turn it on and use Microsoft Word and that kind of thing. I can't do my own graphics or anything. I farm it out. I do the writing and the technical stuff. Too much in my brain. I just can't do that. I don't want to. Tell you the truth.
Believe it or not, our hour is up.
Oh.
We're just getting going. I'm telling you, Nina Royale, everybody, and the North Valley Reporter. It's a great newspaper. You got to check it out online, the North Valley Reporter. You can't miss it. It's a beautiful, beautiful website, and it's up to date. She covers all the current affairs here in Los Angeles and the San Fernando Valley. And most importantly, she's a community activist that's right on the firing line.
I do have to tell you right now, it's under renovation, so have a little patience.
Yeah, and well, you got to always renovate. You got to always create, that's for sure. And so you can check the paper out. Also, she has a regular subscription that you can go to.
It's free.
It's free.
Everything about that paper is free.
Well, I like that. Free is a good thing, isn't it?
Yes. My Social Security helps pay for it.
Yeah, I like that. Hey, look I want to bring you back in here as these events come up and these buttons come up that are important to the community. Will you come back?
Sure, I'd love to.
All right.
Meanwhile,
yes,
if they want to get in touch with me,
yes,
North Valley Reporter at gmail.com. Write to me. I'd love to hear from you.
Got it. North Valley Reporter at gmail.com. Jesse Torero and the Jesse T Show. The Brown Beauty is off duty. See ya, baby.